You're gonna die up there.
I'm Damien Karras.
And I'm the devil.
You know what she did?
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
All right, welcome everyone. This is a very special episode. Ben has signed all the appropriate waivers. We're going to do his psych eval live on mic while I eat this sandwich. I see in his medical history he's taken an antidepressant and he's still having problems. I don't know what to do. I think I don't know, 100 milligrams of Ambien sound cool. Sleep for a real long time.
Sounds like a lot of Ambien. Is that a lot of Ambien?
Experts might say that's like there's like an extra zero on the end there, but like we don't know, man.
I've never.
Shot.
I guess I can't experience the anxiety if I'm unconscious. So
that's true.
Probably make me a lot easier to babysit, I guess. Yes, it is Ben's horror bullshit month. We're here today to talk about a classic. I have some reasons for wanting to talk about it. The Exorcist.
The Killer 3. Oh. Okay.
Not Jeff the Killer 3, no.
I would actually I would much rather.
I had to
The Exorcist.
I had to cancel the Jeff the Killer month I had planned after we realized it sucked. No. We're covering The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty, the book that inspired the horror movie, the only horror movie I can think of off the top of my head that's won an Oscar for screenwriting, also by William Peter Blatty. He wrote the screenplay. So, yeah, I have some reasons for talking about this. I'm interested in the paranormal and ghost hunting and cryptids and all that stuff, as you know. And I'm planning at some point this month to debut a new podcast on this very channel that I do with my wife called Words About Occult Books. And we were going to take a look at The History of Spiritualism by Arthur Conan Doyle. Now, my wife's having some medical problems right now. Nothing serious, but it is keeping her from recording. So I'm not sure if we'll get that out the way I'd planned. But if we had, it would have worked out nice because we would have talked about, the ghost side of things there and then the demon side of things here. Because unfortunately, this book, and probably more so the movie based on it, has really influenced the actual spiritual beliefs of far, far too many people.
I'm pretty sure this is just straight Catholicism, Ben. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, there's some interesting debate about that. So
he went and he dusted off a really old tome from the Middle Ages that referenced ancient Babylon, I think. And that was in here.
I believe it's Samaria. I think Pazuzu's a Sumerian demon.
Damn, even further back.
Yeah. So let's talk about the author real quick. William Peter Blatty. He let me tell you his story, and maybe it'll sound a little familiar to you. Maybe one of the characters in this sort of strikes you as somebody similar. So Blatty, he grew up the child of Lebanese immigrants.
Uh-huh.
His parents separated when he was very young, leaving his mother with absolutely no marketable skills to raise him. She had basically no means of supporting herself. She sold some like homemade juice or something. And they constantly moved from apartment to apartment as they were constantly being evicted for failure to pay rent. and they lived in New York City. Blatty was a fairly smart kid. His very religious mother inspired him to seek a scholarship at a private Jesuit school, which he won. He graduated valedictorian. He then went to the Jesuit Catholic Georgetown University in Washington, D.C.
Interesting.
But he was not a priest. He majored in English, and he would go on to write mostly comedy screenplays.
What?
But yeah, he wrote
that is not what I would have expected.
I think he wrote the Pink Panther sequel.
Panther Harder.
But he wrote some novels as well, and eventually he would write The Exorcist. There were a few things going on at the time he would write The Exorcist. I believe the book came out in 1971. The movie would come out in 1973. He was inspired to write it by watching Rosemary's Baby and thinking, I could probably do that.
And he didn't have a blog poster in this book talking about all the various things that influenced him. What is Rosemary's Baby? I feel like I should know this since it's already come up before.
Rosemary's Baby is actually a really good movie. It's about a woman who moves in with her new husband. They move into this apartment building, and her husband's an actor. He starts to get really weird. He starts to get like way too involved with their neighbors, who are all like much older people, and they're very nosy and weird. And she starts having all these strange experiences. She eventually gets pregnant. She's increasingly isolated from all of her friends and social circle, and just with the people in this apartment building. And eventually it turns out that her husband has basically set her up, sold her to this satanic cult to be impregnated by the devil, and Rosemary's Baby is in fact the Antichrist.
Oh.
Spoilers.
I thought, cult, but, I had a different cult in mind.
The end of Rosemary's Baby is funny out of context, but really horrifying in context. It's actually, Rosemary's Baby is really more of a psychological horror. You're really put in the mind of Rosemary, and she's being psychologically tortured and gaslit, and it's not a comfortable one. It's not a fun one. But at the end, there's a bunch of old people that say, "Hail Satan, Prince of Darkness," and they say it in like that kind of voice. So if you take it out of context, as I have many times on this podcast, I've played that "Hail Satan" clip. And what's wrong with his eyes? Oh God, what's wrong with his eyes?
That's from?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's creepy in context because these people are joyfully crying "Hail Satan," and they're just normal looking elderly people. In context, it's actually quite surreal and horrifying. Roman Polanski directed it. He was dating Sharon Tate when the Manson family killed her.
Oh.
And yeah. So this is around that time.
Yeah.
That's
this is what boomers reference when they talked about the good old days when they didn't have to worry about any sort of people attacking them or their kids.
The 60s, 1969 I think was the Manson murders. That's the day the 60s died.
I mean, it didn't have much longer to go. The 70s were literally right
but
there.
The whole like peace and love movement was gone. It didn't last into the 70s. That was the end of the
this.
So Rosemary's Baby, the occult sort of
what
happenings.
What did the 70s have? All I think about is Gerald Ford.
Disco.
Okay.
Decent,
That didn't last very long.
decent hard rock, I guess. But regardless, there's another thing that had happened somewhat recently, also in the 60s, and that was Vatican II.
Electric Boogaloo?
I knew you were going to say that.
What the hell? What is that?
So this brings me to an interesting thing, because as I was talking with you about The Exorcist, you said something that blew my mind that it honestly didn't occur to me, was not like maybe common knowledge. I mentioned to you that Christians believe that demons are fallen angels, and you had never heard that before.
Yeah. No.
Really? It's crazy to me. Like, I grew up with a very Christian family, so
I thought that demons and fallen angels were two different things entirely.
No, so
demon was some sort of lesser form of life.
No, so you thought like God created just demons?
I didn't think God necessarily created it.
Okay, that's interesting. So you thought there were things that existed that God didn't create?
Hey, there's things that exist in Lord of the Rings that God didn't create.
Incorrect.
Well, kind of.
No.
Twisted versions of his creation.
Yes, twisted.
He didn't
versions.
directly create trolls, right?
But he created.
So that's kind of what I thought demons were.
All life. No. So demons are fallen angels. So that was the thing. So I started to realize as I was thinking about this, like, I take a lot for granted that, like, I think I take for granted that like everybody had a kind of Christian upbringing. And
yeah, I went until I was in 7th grade. I didn't hear shit about demons, I don't think.
Well, so that's an interesting thing, is there's not a lot about demons in the Bible. There's
also not any mention of exorcisms either.
There are tons of mentions of exorcism.
Shit, are there?
Jesus exorcised demons. That's in the Gospels.
Jesus. That's different.
He taught the apostles did exorcisms in his name.
Well, shit, why haven't we been doing this, Ben?
Well, it's kind of like Father Karras says in the book. We discovered mental health and certain other diseases and things.
Jesus should have known all that too.
He probably did, but he was choosing his battles. He had 3 years to get this message across to people, and he wasn't going to start with germ theory. He was just going to be like,
that would have actually been great if
I cast the demons out. No, I didn't have time. Couldn't get around.
Just write it down. Just write it down so that maybe, like in the Renaissance, hundreds of years later, we can discover it and be like, oh, Jesus also gave us germ theory. So
no, he didn't have time for that. He was focused on the bigger picture.
If you guys ever get hit by a plague that looks like it's going to wipe out like half the continent in some places, a third in others, germ theory. Get yourself some doxycycline. I've left some in this cave. Synthesize this. You'll be good.
Synthesize this. So it's right. It was in there with the Dead Sea Scrolls. It didn't make the canon.
There you go.
No, so first off, I think maybe a thing people should think about too with exorcism is, back in the day, there wasn't a whole lot of distinction between spirit and body. They were not really viewed as two separate worlds. The concept of a spirit existing outside the body is...
What about the Holy Ghost?
This gets a little...
I watched a several hour long video that detailed every Roman emperor. There sure were a lot of religious issues.
Yes.
About this exact thing that kept coming up.
Yes.
every few emperors, it'd be like, and this guy decided to spend most of his time with religious problems.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into the Trinity. I'm not going to get into if God and Jesus are different people.
That was also a problem
I know
that the Romans had to deal with.
I know.
And just when you think that they settled that debate once and for all, few generations go by and it's an issue all over again.
I'm going to give you a crash course in some Christianity stuff. So, back in the day, spirit, body, kind of the same thing. So, an affliction of the body, they didn't really distinguish between an affliction of the body and an affliction of the spirit.
So when I die, does my body go to the afterlife?
Interesting question. So many Christians, Jewish people didn't necessarily believe in an afterlife in that way. Many Christians believed that we would be resurrected a la Jesus Christ, like bodily resurrection, which is why why Christians bury their dead. Cremation is relatively new for Christians. Many cemeteries are laid out such that the body's feet face the east, so that when the resurrection happens, it's supposed to come from the east, and they will sit up and see Christ coming.
Yeah,
so it was
can't like sit up and turn around.
You could, but it's
this is just easier.
It's gonna look really cool when everybody's looking the same way.
So you know that there's like one asshole who purposely buried himself the other way. Everyone's gonna sit up. He's gonna be looking the wrong way.
Okay, but when he comes to judge the living and the dead, he's gonna know you were looking the wrong way, just to be different. No, so bodily resurrection, for a long time, that was the thing. That's really not so much the thing anymore. Now we make a big distinction between spirit and matter, which there's tons of writings on that as well. Tons of documents and stuff.
I can't use the Kamehameha without my spirit, right? That's where that comes from.
Well, and it was a privilege for Goku to get to keep his body in the afterlife, because not everybody does.
You're right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're like weird little blobby ghost things.
Well, yeah, I think they were headed for the wheel of reincarnation, but we're not. We're only in the Middle East. We're not going that far east. So, yeah. So that's sort of.
Then I'm going to ask you who even King Yama is, and we're going to be here forever. So.
That's some belief about life after death. Demons, most Christians, I would say, believe they're fallen angels. Also wrapped up in that is demonology itself. So you also mentioned you were very confused as to where a lot of these beliefs come from, because it's not the Bible. Because I will say, like, the Lucifer, the Satan character, is not really mentioned in the Bible. There is an accuser in Job who seems to be part of the heavenly host. That's often portrayed as Satan. They sometimes equate the serpent in the Garden of Eden to Satan. But there's a lot of debate about this too. The Lucifer character sort of emerges later on. With demonology, Catholics get really into demonology. That sort of the Christians were Jewish initially. Jesus' followers were Jewish. They started incorporating Gentiles into the movement. Eventually, they take over Rome.
Yeah, they ate bacon and they're like, oh, this is much better. I'm sorry.
There are some debates about how much I think Paul writes a lot about do the Gentiles have to follow Jewish law and stuff. If you're interested, read the Bible. There's more about that there. And anyway,
I want to read the King Henry Bible.
And I can cut off my wife's head. And it's fine. Not you, Shy. Shy squared up. Like she was waiting for that betrayal. So, um, as Christians sort of as Christianity spreads, they don't necessarily say that, oh, your pagan gods aren't real. They say, yes, the miracles you see, the magic you see is real, because we all know the supernatural is real. What you're getting is demonic.
All right. So pagan gods, they're not real. It's just all that magic is God.
Well, they're demons. They're the fallen angels.
Even worse.
They're trying to trick you. They're trying to keep you from worshiping the right God that would save your soul. And that's how you get
But
this.
Zeus seems like such an upstanding fellow.
Does he? I feel like that was one of their easiest ones.
yeah. Maybe we stop worshiping this guy that keeps just impregnating everyone in a 200-mile radius.
Odin also wasn't a huge challenge. He keeps trying to kill you in battle, so you'll fight for him forever. But that's how you wind up with the Sumerian. I think Pazuzu's evil in the Sumerian religion, but they're not all. Not all demons were evil. Like, I don't think Baal is evil in his own mythology, but he's
really, because we sure do shit on Baal nonstop now.
Yeah, no,
he's the Lord of Murder in D&D world, Ben.
The Baal. This is complicated. Baal actually competes in Canaanite religions. Baal and Yahweh seem to do a lot of the same stuff, almost like some of the stories about Yahweh that make it into the Bible were actually originally part of the Baal cycle. But that's a whole.
I don't know who any of these people are. So
Yahweh is the name of God.
Ah, really?
Yeah. I don't know why I thought you'd know that. Yeah, the name of God. So in the Bible, he's referred to by a couple of different names. God, obviously. But when they're saying God, they're usually translating Elohim or Yahweh. The name Yahweh refers to the Jewish God, and it's a sacred name that you're not supposed to say, but you can.
Like Voldemort or Sauron.
Yeah, but that's why they don't. That's why they usually just call him God or Lord or whatever.
What about Jehovah?
Yeah, it's up there. Jehovah's another one.
That's what I know that one from Indiana Jones, Ben.
I don't 100% know if Jehovah's like a Latinized version of Yahweh. You're catching me unprepared, but
yeah, you're gonna have to get prepared for this after talking about Tolkien. We're talking about the Bible, Ben.
We can. I'll do it.
A multi-part series. We just.
I think it would be a multi-part series. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I could get that in one episode, but we'll try. I barely got Jeff the Killer in one episode. No, so anyway, that's sort of like demonology. But you were mentioning you were confused. You didn't know what people believed and why. So really, really, really simplified history of the church.
So why are demons out of hell? I feel like they lost that battle, right? There was a battle. Is that a real thing?
Well, so I'm getting to some of this.
Okay.
Okay. So church, eventually Christians start out as kind of an underground thing. The Romans are, feeding them to lions and stuff.
And that just made it cooler and more.
It did.
Punk rock.
It made it cool and punk rock. It was very DIY. Everybody's writing their own books. Everybody's spreading their own message. The guy who went out to Egypt said a kind of different thing entirely. There's the Gnostics. There's all kinds of stuff floating around. And
then eventually there's another religion that's kind of distantly related to this.
Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about Islam.
Oh, okay.
The prophet.
Islam's...
Isn't it the same God?
It's the same God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I
But
would...
it's so different that,
So Islam, now you're getting into... So Abraham had 2 sons, Isaac and Ishmael. Isaac goes off
Is this what happened? Like,
yeah. Isaac is the patriarch of Judaism, Christianity. Ishmael is the patriarch of Islam.
Okay. Now, was Ishmael around?
At least according to the Bible. I mean, it's...
Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. What? Wait, hold on. How did? So, what did they predict? Islam? That what? When does Ishmael get mentioned? Is this a retcon where they're like, oh yeah, and here's how Islam comes into all of this?
So
because
they're not predicting...
Christianity was
okay. I see your confusion.
a lot earlier.
They're not... So in the book of Genesis, there's the Garden of Eden and all this stuff. But the real purpose of the book of Genesis is to explain the state of the world as it was at the time of writing, and like where everybody came from, and who's like, and why our relationships with different nations are what they are. And the
it's I blame Rome mostly.
A subset of the Arabs are the Bible says they're descended from Ishmael.
Oh, okay.
And then from them,
and then they later came back to
Islam.
To this God, except
it's the same
a lot of
God. Like they
different.
This is the tricky bit. Like a lot of people
Does it talk about the Chinese and the Japanese.
So no, because they didn't know they were there.
Okay, I mean, I wasn't even going to ask about Native Americans because I knew, but but Rome did know about China.
So the Genesis was written way before Rome.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess because that'd be the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Which would have been...
It's literally the first book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long ago was Genesis written, Ben?
1400 BC is around the time, but there's also like different texts that make up Genesis. So like some of them are written later than others and clearly influenced by others. And like some of these are stories being compiled by an editor, which is why there's like multiple versions of the same story in Genesis. And sometimes like it doesn't flow logically. Like what happens later doesn't correspond with what happened first. And this is not within the scope of The Exorcist. My point is, there's a church. Everybody's going their separate ways. There's a bunch of different documents, everything, whatever. We come to power in Rome. Hey, let's get our shit together and figure out what the real books are and what the crazy books are.
And they did that, and they solved all Catholic Christian strife forever.
For a little bit. And then they broke in half. East and West schism. Catholic Church separates. And then I think your Greek Orthodox is kind of the Eastern. And then your Roman Catholic is the Western. And then the Roman Catholic, of course, it breaks again into your Anglicans. And then even your Anglicans break again. And
you get the Russian Orthodox,
the Protestant Reformation. I think they've already gone. Greek, I think in the first schism, the Orthodox churches are gone, or they're separated. And then what we know as Catholic is kind of like the Roman Catholic. Certainly what we're dealing with in The Exorcist is Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
Now, the Protestants, they don't like a lot of what the Catholic Church is doing. And they would like a return to Scripture, the authoritative sources. For a lot of Protestants, there's variation. And so if you're raised Protestant, you're probably looking at a Bible with about 66 books in it. And there's probably a big emphasis on the text as written. Maybe not a literal interpretation necessarily, but the Bible is the Word of God. That's the Word of God. Nothing outside the Bible is the Word of God. If you're Catholic, you're probably looking at about 73 books in your Bible. And in addition to the scriptures, you're also going to want to pay attention to the magisterium.
The what?
The magisterium. That's what it's actually called.
Sounds fancy.
Yes. So that is the doctrine, the tradition of the Catholic Church, the additional decisions, writings, and accumulated work of the bishops and popes. And there's a magisterial. The magisterium is like a council of bishops and the pope, and they can produce new work that is as authoritative as the Bible.
Huh.
And this is where you start to get a lot of the extra characters and extra interpretations and things that aren't in there. So you get now this of course all happened like before the split. So a lot of it carried over into Protestant belief as well. Like I was raised Methodist, but my family still, believes in the devil. They still think they still follow the fall of Lucifer and stuff. I don't think they'd be able to tell you where they got that from. It's just something we've always heard. It stays in the culture.
It's ingrained in the culture. Is that not in the Bible?
No.
Oh. Okay.
No, that isn't.
So the devil is just like a snake hanging out in Eden.
In the Bible,
Maybe.
I would say
you're about to destroy whatever beliefs I had about the Bible.
If you're going purely by the Bible, I would say Lucifer is not in the Bible. There is no devil.
Damn.
In the Bible.
So what tempted Adam and Eve?
A snake.
Huh.
But it's not necessarily the same.
Why snakes suck.
Yeah, well, that is the thing for why snakes suck, but it's not necessarily the same entity that insisted we test Job. It's not necessarily the same entity that rises in Revelation to destroy the world. It's not like there's no through line there that makes it the same character, but there were writings afterward that proposed a devil. And like I said, there were writings before that didn't make it into the Bible. So some of these beliefs are like floating around in these extra biblical texts that wind up getting canonized through the authority of the church. Like it's not in the Bible, but the Pope is God's representative on earth. And he's like, yeah, that's the devil. So what are you going to do? Disagree with the Pope? Well, some people did, but then they got kicked out and became Protestants.
We'll make a new Pope.
Yeah.
They did that a lot, too.
Yeah. So this tool, the magisterium, it to people raised Protestant, I know like I have a bias against it of like, oh, this is people, thinking they can add to the text of the Bible. But it does provide a way for the church to adjust.
Yeah. It's like how we have amendments, Ben.
Yeah.
Where's my Catholic Bill of Rights?
Yeah. Well, that brings us to Vatican I.
Oh.
So there's a Vatican.
Yeah, you did mention Vatican II.
Yeah. So there's a Vatican Council, a great council called by the Pope. This is in.
When was this?
What?
When was this?
This was in 1868.
Oh my God. That's a lot closer than I would have expected.
Yup. And they were trying to decide some things about the Catholic Church. They wanted to add some magisterial texts. They wanted to iron out some problems that were causing disagreements. One of these was, is the Pope infallible? Kind of.
Yeah, but then which Pope? Because
this
then
was
you get
Pope
into the multi-Pope.
Pius the Ninth. Who called this? So this was going great. They were hammering out a lot of stuff. They were getting a lot of things done. And then the Kingdom of Italy invades Rome, and everybody had to run. You got to run. Get out
Oh
of
boy.
there. So that ended the first Vatican Council. And then there was Vatican II.
Yeah, Vatican II. Not maybe as good as the first one, but it really helped as a stepping stone so that by the time Vatican III came around, you had Andre the Giant there. You could really turn it up.
There has never been a Vatican III, but when do you think Vatican II would have been?
God, you're going to blow my mind. It's going to be like 1950 or something.
1962 to 1965.
Damn.
Mere years before The Exorcist would be written. And some of the stuff they decided at Vatican II persists to
Wow, they
this
never
day.
got back together after Italy invaded?
They had a lot of stuff going on. A couple of world wars kicked off. It was things didn't really settle down until the 60s. That's when they thought they could like mellow out and do this again. But it's often seen as like a modernizing of the Catholic Church. Some people see it as a Protestantizing of the Catholic Church. The church decided to be a little more ecumenical. Ecumenical means like coming together of everything. In that ecumenical spirit, they've kind of loosely decided that as long as you believe in salvation through Jesus Christ, you're probably going to go to heaven. You don't have to be a Catholic to go to heaven.
Sweet.
A lot of Catholics didn't like that.
Well, sorry.
They started talking about they were going to integrate the laity into church institutions. Like they were actually going to.
Can my dog go to heaven?
No, doesn't have a soul.
Ooh.
Next question.
Ouch.
No, so they were going to integrate the laity into the church. They were going to like hire people who were not ordained priests to fulfill roles in the church. They never quite got around to doing much of that. They were also going to include women. Never quite got around to that. They're working on it. But it's a big thing. So there's
only been like 60 years, Ben.
But basically,
stuff like that doesn't just happen overnight.
A lot of people saw this as the church going woke.
Go woke, go broke.
There's debates that rage to this day that they have not gone woke enough, that they have gone far too woke. There have been some extreme
Vatican III.
It'll happen one day. I mean, it will happen one day. But there's been some extreme offshoots that Blatty was not one of these, but the exorcists that work with Ghost Adventures, I think, are one such, I would say, extreme offshoot.
That's real?
Yes.
Oh.
And I would say they're more inspired by The Exorcist than the Bible or the Magisterium or whatever. But yeah, so that's how we get. So Blatty's writing at a time of unique upheaval, I would say, in the Catholic Church, a modernizing Catholic Church, a Catholic Church that is eschewing some of its more mystical, magical practices and trying to prepare itself to engage with the modern age.
Have they thought about getting just a gigantic mega church and then asking for donations so that they could get
they have a city?
Yeah, not good enough, man. You need a jet.
I'm sure the
God
Pope has
wants
a jet.
the Pope. God wants the Pope to have a second one or a third one. He needs another one.
The Pope has his own passport.
That's pretty sweet. No, yeah. I'm more thinking about the televangelists, mega churches.
Evangelicals are a whole other concept.
Yeah, where if you're a good person, then
you'll be rich.
Deserve all this money. Yeah.
That's the
Jesus
process.
said something about helping the poor or whatever, but like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
He famously said it's easier for a camel to ride into heaven than it is to be poor. See you guys. Peace. Anyway, so yeah, this is where Blatty's writing, and you'll notice that in a lot of the themes of The Exorcist, that this was another thing you were surprised by, is that The Exorcist, the movie, correlates to a gigantic increase in the demand for exorcism worldwide. It went from an obscure rite, hardly ever performed, to my town has an exorcist.
Great.
Yes.
Glad that is the lesson I feel we should take away from this book, Ben. We need more exorcists.
You will see, now I'm not a Catholic, but you will see Catholic opinions on The Exorcist are firmly divided. The one thing that many people can agree on is that it is a great recruitment poster for the Catholic Church. The heroes are priests. They return to their traditional roots. They practice.
We need to make Law and Order, but with priests, Ben. See if the Catholic Church will bankroll us.
Yeah, we could. I think they already have that. It's called Special Victims Unit. Ooh-ah!
Oh.
But yeah, the heroes are priests. It's a great recruiting tool. A lot of other Catholics would point out that the devil does a bunch of stuff the devil's not supposed to be able to do. That the rite of exorcism itself is kind of insane in this.
Just a bit.
And that this also isn't how exorcism works.
How is exorcism? How is it supposed to work?
You do prayers, you do fasting, you cast the demon out, you work with the person over a period of months, and eventually the demon is taken out. You don't wrestle with them, shoot them full of thalamine or whatever.
I want to wrestle with him, though. I want to hit him with the body slam, big boot, leg drop, child is saved.
A lot of people will also point out that there sure do seem to be a lot of these feminist types realizing that what they really needed was a patriarchal religion in their life. The independent, divorced, single mother actress, with all her wealth and all her new age wisdom, can't seem to find a cure for her daughter.
Don't worry. Papa Karras has you covered.
Ultimately, faith triumphs over science at the end, which is a little bit of mixed messaging. And so Catholics are kind of divided on it. I think in the wash, it's come out as it has been a great recruiting tool, and I don't think too many people are still too worried about it, but I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. And with that elaborate preamble, I think we might be ready to start talking about the book, maybe.
Yeah.
So we're introduced to a little bit of a prelude, I guess, where we encounter. I've always called him Max von Sydow because that is the actor who plays him. But I think it is Father Marin. Father Marin, yes, you're right. So we start off with Father Marin.
In northern Iraq.
Yes.
Presumably before Saddam's party took control.
I have no idea when that happened.
Early 60s.
It could be right around No. I don't know when this book is supposed to have taken place. It was published in 1971. I guess I assumed it took place in 1971. But
well, this is like in the past, this prologue, right?
This is like a a couple months before,
Oh.
because he's heading back to deal with Pazuzu.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Yeah. Wow, this is gonna be a long one.
I just know that they found something on an archaeological dig, and he was like, huh, that's
Yeah,
weird.
they find something on an archaeological dig. It is an amulet of Pazuzu. Pazuzu being a real demon, people would use amulets of Pazuzu to ward off evil winds, which could be illness or whatever. And it seems like
And that works out really well for them.
it might have back then. I don't know. It's not working out so great these days. What you really want to avoid is a Ouija board.
Yeah. That's the real shit.
But Father Marin, he's a nice guy. Everybody loves him in this introduction. We see, and people are. He's got some weird sense of foreboding. There's a lot of tension, and we're not really sure why. He found this statue, and
Yeah, this would have been after Saddam's in power. I think it is just set in 71.
maybe he was leaving for a couple reasons. Maybe it was Pazuzu and Saddam. But they don't want him to leave. The few
I
contacts.
guess Saddam isn't in power, but the Ba'ath Party is. So he hasn't yet live on camera executed a ton of members of his party while they gave him a standing ovation. But yeah, he sensed like you know, I need to get the hell out of here sometime in the next 8 years. I found this amulet. Sounds like a good time to go.
Yep. So he heads back to the States, and then we open up on our main characters. So we have a fun, weird little household here. We have Chris McNeil. She is an actress. She is divorced. She has a 12-year-old daughter named Reagan McNeil. And she also has a small household. She has a secretary named Sharon. She has 2 live-in servants who are
As you
a
do.
Swiss married couple named Carl with a K and Willie. Willie is the woman. Not sure what Willie's short for.
Wilhelmina.
Could be.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to notice some scratching in the attic. Chris thinks they have rats.
There are no rat droppings, though.
No,
So,
there's no rats.
you're wrong. I think it's a Ouija board.
There's also
Come
rapping.
to life.
There's also just strange noises in general. But Chris is here. She's in a lovely townhouse that she's renting in Washington, D.C. Right.
It's a living dummy, Ben.
Right across the street from Georgetown University, the actual university that is a Jesuit Catholic university. I think I know the answer, but do you know what a Jesuit is?
Yes. They were like a type of missionary, weren't they? And I think they were pretty heavy in like Japan. And I'm gonna guess Korea, I don't know, and China.
Could be not the answer I was looking for.
Oh, okay.
There's different orders within the Catholic Church, different societies that are officially sanctioned by the Pope. Think of it like they'll love this. Think of it like schools in Harry Potter.
All right, so where are the Knights Templar?
You got your Dominicans, your Franciscans, your Jesuits, your so the Jesuits, they're kind of famous for like they do a lot of schools, they do a lot with education, they tend to have a lot of scholars, they print a lot of books. I think it's probably not a coincidence that Benny Gesserit sounds like Jesuit.
Yeah, he probably even tried to make it sound exactly like Jesuit, but
couldn't
he
spell
spelled it a little weird. Yeah.
So she's filming some movie there, She goes to the set one day. We're introduced to her director, who is a British man who is an alcoholic. Those are his two characteristics.
He's
also very rude.
He's a funny alcoholic if you enjoy being around a verbally abusive man.
And Chris does. She takes a lot of this.
That. But maybe not romantically, but Reagan sure thinks she is.
Yeah, Reagan thinks that. So Reagan's father's pretty much out of the picture. He seems to have abandoned them to jet set around Europe. He couldn't handle the wife taking the spotlight. It was all cool when she was doing red carpet stuff before they had kids. But then after she had a kid, it became Chris McNeil and Reagan, like they were a mommy-daughter duo.
Yeah.
And who's thinking about dad? No one's thinking about dad. No one's taking pictures of dad. Well, fine. Then I guess I just won't be here anymore. And then he wasn't.
That's right. Take that. That'll teach you to be successful, you ass.
We see pretty quickly that Chris is mild-mannered. She's charming. She's witty. She's got great relationships. Loves her daughter. Plays with her all the time. Daughter's just like the cutest little thing. Makes her mom gifts all the time. Seems very attached to her, but because of the nature of her mom's job, can't really play with a lot of people her own age. She's kind of moving around from place to place, set to set, being privately tutored by Sharon. Bootstraps, and her mom's kind of rich. Except she can't afford a new Ferrari. That one hurt.
That hurt me.
Yeah.
Hurt me to read it.
Yeah.
I know that pain.
Well, she's on set. The British man Dennings, he's cursing and swearing and fuck this.
It was great. It was funny. We were all there for it. We were like, Dennings, how can I enable you more?
I tell you what, like it is funny when Dennings eventually gets his head twisted around and thrown out a window, and they're like, "This could have been anyone." This guy sucked. Yeah, it definitely couldn't have happened to. I guess he's supposed to be charming. I don't know how. He's nice. He's nice to Chris. Charming. He eats
he
paper.
Wants to get that probably. Yeah, he loves eating paper for some reason.
I think it's the only way they could like prove he was reading the book. I kept wondering like, why are we focusing on the paper? But it does come up again. He likes to tear strips off pages and eat them when he's stressed.
Yeah.
As you do.
I do that all the time. That's how I absorb the book's knowledge, Ben.
That's how you absorb the book's knowledge. You literally devour them. She's going around being a socialite. While she's there, she sees there's this one priest who overheard Dennings laughing, and Dennings laughing and cursing. She's like, "Oh no, I've offended the priests, but it's okay because this priest is cool."
Yeah,
looks like a boxer.
Yeah, he wears sunglasses even indoors.
Have you ever seen the guy who plays him?
No.
They found the perfect guy. Unfortunately, I think he became an alcoholic and kind of fell off the face of the earth. But yeah, no, he does. He looks like a boxer. Yeah, so that would be Father Karras, who we're going to spend a little time with. Probably going to do
that. He has little colored contacts in too.
Yeah. I will say, especially if you watch the movie today, there's a thing with the movie where it's like the scariest movie of all time. People were fainting at the showings. One girl had to be taken away in an ambulance. The Motion Picture Association, people thought they should have rated it X because it was so extreme. And if you watch it today, it's like, yeah, it's I bet that was really shocking in 1971.
I saw a Reddit post that said the book is better because it really gives you a grasp for just how much vomit and fecal matter is being spewed everywhere.
I will say that is one thing in the it's weird because you'd think in the book he could be more imaginative, but uh in in the movie they do a lot more of like the head spinning and the crab walking and the physical stuff. Probably worth mentioning for all the criticism I might have for Blatty being a little bit of a prima donna. William Friedkin or Friedkin, who directed the film, was an asshole.
Hey, broke that girl's back, apparently.
They broke Linda Blair's back with the bed stuff. He threw physically the actress playing Chris against the wall. Like when Reagan like slaps her away, they just yanked her into the wall. She was on a rope or something that they were going to pull to yank her into the wall. And he told them to like pull it as hard as they could, and they yanked her, and she bashed her head off the wall.
Jesus.
At the end, when the one priest is giving absolution, the actor playing the priest he wasn't giving the performance that this guy wanted. He's like, you got to be rattled, you got to be rattled, and to get him rattled, the guy out of nowhere slapped him across the face. He slapped the actor across the face, and you could kind of see he's like visibly shaken as he's doing the scene, which is what we really wanted. Friedkin should probably be in jail, but I think he's dead now. So,
well, put his body in there.
Put his body in there. So Karras, we're going to learn a little bit about him. We might as well cover it now. Karras is from the School of Hard Knocks. Much like somebody else I mentioned earlier in the episode, he's from New York City. He had no father. His mother was dirt poor. He's the child of immigrants.
Interesting.
He grew up to become a priest.
This is like the Pope who called Vatican II or something. Is that who we're trying to imply this is?
Yeah, it's probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably like John the 23rd or whatever. Yeah, he's got a lot of guilt. He's got guilt about leaving his mother. She's had some health issues, some psychiatric issues. And he goes to see her one last time, and she's like, "Oh, Demi, you never visit." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm going to visit more. It's as soon as it's like not super depressing to see you. As soon as it's not.
I'm
super
sure that's
depressing.
Just right around the corner."
But he's an academic. He's a doctor of psychology, psychiatry. He can prescribe. That's important.
Yeah, it is. You need to have someone who can hit you with those high doses of Thorazine.
What do you think the pharmacist
probably didn't care? This is the 70s.
This is the
probably why. I just read a book about someone who could, you get one prescription for steroids, and if the cops catch you with 100 bottles that you bought off the black market, as long as you got that one prescription, it's all legal.
Was it?
I don't know. The guy who said this was Hulk Hogan, so you got to take a lot of what he says and not at face value.
Peter Thiel's favorite porn star, Hulk Hogan. But yeah, so Father Karras, that's his deal. He's a trained psychiatrist. He's also struggling with his faith. There's a theme Blatty wants to have running through this, where when we were introduced to Father Marin has these thoughts about how like he sees these gross people with like rotted teeth, bad hygiene. And he's like, there was a time when I would have struggled to love that man. And Karras is kind of maybe going through some of the same thing. He sees like a homeless guy, and he's focusing on how disgusting the dude is, how like he's obviously soiled himself, and he's like, "Oh, did you help an old altar boy out, Father?" And Damien has to give him his last dollar, so he can't take a cab. He's got to walk all the way, and he's like, how do you believe in God in a world where you're in a meat suit and you got to grind food down with your mouth bones and shoot it out your sphincter, and it's all just so goddamn gross.
Well, you just say, if God wanted that man to have money, he would have had money. Therefore, that guy must be bad, and I must be good. All right, cool.
But he's struggling. He's struggling a lot. And one of the things he's supposed to do is he's supposed to counsel priests.
Yes. And maybe give him some of that trembolone.
Yeah, and he's struggling with that because he's like, I can't tell you, to how to manage your faith when I can't quite manage my own faith. And he's been asking for a leave of absence. He's been really struggling with this faith
Maybe he
crisis.
should see a counselor.
He's the only one. But Doctor, I am Pagliacci. You know that joke, right?
No.
You should go see the great clown. Guy walks into the doctor's office. He's super depressed. Doctor's like, you should go see this really funny clown that's in town, Pagliacci. And he's like, but doctor, I am Pagliacci. So even those of us who smile can sometimes be the saddest of all. Think about that.
Yeah, I remember there was a clown in The Sims, the first one. If you hang a picture of him and you're sad, he comes over and then he just makes everyone else sad. And he sucks. And I would often set off a rocket inside the house, delete the doors, and then get rid of him, you know?
So that's what Damien Karras is dealing with. And we'll cut back to Chris and Reagan. They're spending a lot of quality time together. Reagan makes her little statues. They eat dinner. They're going out to eat. They're having all this fun. Mommy, why do people die? And Chris is like, what? She's like, yeah, Mommy, I was just wondering, like, why does God let people die?
So he can give you cuddles and hugs in the afterlife.
Yeah, and Chris is having a funny moment there where she's like, I'm a staunch atheist. I don't know where she heard about this God fellow.
Where in America could you hear about this God?
Yeah. Maybe on the money. I don't know. But she's like, I don't know where she heard of this God fellow. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, honey, people get tired. And she's like, well, why does God let them get tired then? And Chris is like, I don't know. He misses us and he calls us home. Yeah.
Look, he gave us the gift of men, and then there are these others who got the gift of elves. And they got to live forever, but they kind of got sick of it. It was just real terrible. It just lasted forever, and so yeah, we get the gift of being able to die, and then we go somewhere else.
It's like, Reagan, you know how bored you are on a long car ride? Like when you're 12, that's like a 4-hour car ride might as well be an eternity. And you're just like, when is it ever going to end? When is this car ride going to end and I could finally go do something I enjoy? And as you age, Reagan, it doesn't get better. Like more things start to feel like that car ride. And eventually you're just like, when can I get out of this fucking car, Reagan? When can I get out of this fucking car?
Yeah, Reagan, you know how, like, right now we have Richard Nixon. He's got some personal flaws, but he overall, I've heard good things about him, even from people who weren't in his party. Well, Reagan, you're 12 now. It's only going downhill from here.
Yeah. But yeah, she's a little confused by this, a little off put. We know we're reading a book called The Exorcist, so this is foreshadowing. And it's funny because Chris is also starting to have dreams about death.
That's the law of attraction, brother. You start thinking about things, and then you start manifesting them, dude. I'm here to tell you, you gotta get your mind straight, Jack.
Yeah, get your mind straight.
How about you read The Secret?
Oh, dear.
At the same time I was reading The Exorcist, I was reading Hulk Hogan's memoirs.
So we find out that Reagan heard about this Godfellow from Sharon. Sharon's a little...
Sharon, you betrayed me.
You betrayed me. We promised to keep Reagan a staunch atheist. But yeah, she found out about God from Sharon, who's into some New Age stuff. She's also
like Vatican II.
Sharon's she's into some different New Age stuff. She's into some transcendental meditation. I think that's the newest thing she's into. And as we remember from the Amityville Horror,
do we?
Yeah. So this is the thing I got to mention because it's going to come up throughout the book.
I'm going to be real. I don't remember the Amityville Horror.
Well, I'm going to remind you of the Amityville Horror. Okay. So the Amityville Horror, they were the parents were doing TM, transcendental meditation, and that could be how they got the demons in there or whatever.
This is the dumb story. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So modern ghost hunting. This is one of the things I'm trying to get to with all my various researches is why do we believe how did we get here? How did we get to muscular men running around in black t-shirts with EMF meters shouting at the walls?
How did we? Is a good question. I often ask, why do we think a thermometer can track down a ghost?
Did you notice when Reagan's possessed the room's cold?
Yeah, I did, actually.
There's the legendary couple that started it all, the Warrens. If you're wondering where I stand on the Warrens, they're full of shit. They've actually ruined the Conjuring films for me now. I know too much. I can't enjoy them anymore. And
not even the last one, the only case they ever walked away from, Ben.
They were thrown out of most of them.
Well, this is one they voluntarily walked away from.
The Conjuring 2, they were there for a day and they were asked to leave. But they didn't put that in the movie. But anyway.
The Conjuring Skinwalker Ranch.
It's not going to surprise you to know that the Warrens, Ed Warren in particular, big fan of The Exorcist.
Shocking. Is this where he got the cold from? This is where that started?
I can't promise that this is where that started. I'll be real with you. If you try to find out, piercing the myth from fact of Catholic exorcism is such a challenge because there's so much bullshit.
Just consult the Mysterium. What the
Magisterium.
fuck?
But I noticed a couple of distinct points in this book.
Are those available for general public to go over? Is that
I would imagine, yeah.
interesting?
Yeah, you could get because that was actually one of the things that came out of Vatican II was they wanted to be a little bit more open, not about some of the stuff that would come later we found, but they wanted to be a little bit more open with the laity about some of that stuff. So they wanted to actually translate these things from Latin into
That was a big deal
a
when they
language
did that
people
with the
spoke.
Bible.
Yeah. Yeah, so they wanted to start translating some of these documents so that people could actually read them and actually know what was going on. And like I said, I watched an interview today because I was trying to iron out my facts on this. I watched an interview today with a guy who was like Vatican II is just woke nonsense. This ecumenical approach. He's like, if you're not Catholic, you're going to hell. We all know that. And I was like, yep. That's how you're gonna get people to like you.
Yeah. That's how you save souls, which I'm sure that guy was interested in doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. But
Sounds like one of those guys who has a Bible and puts it in his bedstand, and that's where it's been for the last 20 years.
He was a bishop of one of these splinter churches.
Oh. Sounds like a guy who has his Bible, and he reads it. He doesn't like some of the things that are in there. So maybe... maybe he starts kind of
one of those Old
putting his own
Testament
spin
Christians.
on there. Yeah.
Yeah. But the Warrens, there were several points in this book where I was like, damn, Ed Warren has lifted this word for word. And I don't know if, I guess you could argue that Ed Warren is pulling from the same source that Blatty's pulling from, but I'm fairly certain he's not. I'm fairly certain he just read The Exorcist. And one of the things he talks about, Ed Warren, big on Ouija boards, talks about those a lot.
Is that where this fucking came from?
Talks about the infestation, oppression, possession cycle of that Reagan goes through. How you hear the scratching in the attic, you hear the noises and stuff. That's the infestation. And then the oppression is where the devil starts talking to you and weighing down your thoughts. And
so why does he need to infest your house? Why does he need to scratch in the attic?
Unclear. It's part of wearing you down, I guess. Part of
but Reagan didn't seem to care. It was her mom that was like, "Oh, there are mice up there."
There's
So if she would have just gone to a different house, would she have been okay?
No, I think Reagan's fatal flaw here is she played with the Ouija board.
Well, yeah, I mean, those are the most... Actually, I can't even pretend, Ben. Those are the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard of. Every time I've had people who are afraid of them, I'm like, but your hands are moving the planchette. The planchette doesn't move on its own. It's you. It's you and your friends moving the planchette. You're doing it. I'm watching you do it.
This is one where I will say I have seen people I thought are pretty reasonable religious people who will tell you never use a Ouija board. They legitimately think there is a chance, even if they think it's like a 0.0001% chance, they do think there is a chance that a demon will answer.
It's you with your hands on the planchette.
I think they would say that's 99.99%. That's what
it's like saying don't use a Monopoly board. They're both produced, I think, by the same people even.
They are. But you're not supposed to... The purpose of Monopoly is not to contact demons or spirits.
The purpose of the Ouija board isn't either. It's to have a fun little
The
gag
stated
with your friend.
Purpose of the Ouija board is to contact spirits.
Okay, so... what... So do I have to go into that with the mindset of that's what I'm going to do? Or is
I
it
think
just the fact
so.
that someone... Okay.
I think so. Like, I think if you just drew a smiley face on the Ouija board, I don't think that would count. I think you have to use it with the intention of contacting a spirit.
So what if I use Monopoly with the intention of contacting a spirit somehow?
I think they would say that was equally dangerous because they'll say the same thing about tarot cards, or any other kind of like any other game you might play where now interestingly, I've always wondered how ghost hunters get around this. How so many ghost hunters seem to be like devout Christians, and yet all they ever do is run around shouting at the walls trying to talk to spirits.
Oh, that's easy, Ben. They're grifters.
I don't think they all are. I mean, not to say that I think they're any of them finding ghosts. I think some of them genuinely think the walls are talking back.
Well, they're going to hell, Ben. That's Vatican II. I'm sorry, I don't make
That's
the rules.
Vatican II. You know, that's the thing. Like, that's a banger name. Like, that's what they should just name the whole church. So we're not Catholics anymore. We're Vatican II.
Yeah, that does sound pretty sweet. You can have all kinds of kick-ass ads.
There was a thing where so the Warrens, like, they have that infestation, whatever crap. But then there was another
There's
one.
a horrible smell in her room, Ben.
Well, yeah, she shit everywhere.
Well, before that, but yeah.
No, there was another thing. I don't think it's going to come up in my summary, so I just wanted to mention it. When Father Karras is telling Chris eventually about like other instances, or I don't know if he's telling Chris or the cop, but he's telling somebody about other instances of possession or whatever, or evil, or Satan worship, or black mass or something.
Black mass.
He talks about a woman who was a midwife who would put a pin through a newborn baby's skull to kill it and make it look like a stillbirth. And I'm telling you, that is exactly what I think Ed Warren accused Bathsheba Sherman of doing. And in the what The Conjuring is based on. And it turned out that Bathsheba Sherman never killed anyone, like perfectly normal lady. She just happened to have a creepy sounding name of Bathsheba. And I think that's why they singled her out and decided to say she was like this baby killing monster. But I'm also pretty sure he got that from The Exorcist.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
Yeah.
It's like a whole genre that I just don't care for at all.
I know. That's why I have to do the other podcast with my wife. I was telling Shai, I was like, I have to do this one with you because Nate's not going to make it through 2 chapters of this Conan Doyle stuff.
No, you told me about that. And I'm like, that.
He's dumber
like
than Hulk Hogan.
Idiot.
He's dumber than Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll get into the meat of it. So Regan plays with a Ouija board. And a spirit talks back. She gets an answer as she plays with the Ouija board.
Why do people die? Yes. Okay. Well,
is the spirit telling me that this is a good question to ask? Yes. Why do people die?
He's Mr. Howdy.
Captain Howdy, sir.
Oh yeah.
He didn't serve in the Ghost Wars for nothing.
He didn't send in the Ghost Wars. Captain Howdy.
You will address him by his husband's rank.
Uncle Howdy, who would be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Part of a cult. So that's cool.
So she talks to Captain Howdy, and that's creepy. Captain Howdy's kind of mean. She's like, is mommy pretty? And Captain Howdy's like, no.
What a powerful demon this is.
He gets stronger. He eventually does some other stuff. And it's like you said, he makes smells. There's a lot of smells.
Yeah, he gets stronger, but He's never not just the littlest of little bitches.
And slowly he is not a very intimidating demon. He's more intimidating in the movie. He looks scary and he beats people up a lot. But he does kill that guy. We'll get to that. But
I think a stiff wind could have thrown him out that window.
He was really
pretty drunk.
Yeah.
Question is, why was he in that 12-year-old's room to begin with?
She probably lured him up there.
Yeah, that's what he would have told the public too, if he survived.
Sorry, I was in good faith thinking like the demon probably did something to lure him up there. I wasn't thinking like, yeah, she came on to me, man. Though she does. I mean, like that demon is gross.
She said that there was some puppies and some candy up in her room, and I just had to come up there and.
So Reagan eventually starts behaving oddly. She starts cursing. She starts calling people names.
Well, really mean names, too. It hurt my feelings. Starts pissing on the carpet.
Does that happen before or after she gets Reagan checked out?
I think it happens before, because that's one of the final straws where she's like, all right, something really weird is happening. We need to...
that was... did they give her Ritalin first?
Let's see. Hold on. Diagnosed her with ADHD, which I wrote great. Let's see. Psychiatrist checking her blood and urine. Furniture's being moved. Insomniac. Sad and quiet for days. I'm trying to look for where she's peeing on the carpet. And then she tells them that they're all gonna die.
Well, that was... She doesn't
okay, that was later. Yeah, she was already checked out at that point.
Yeah, so she takes Reagan to a doctor. And I'm interested in your perspective on this part of the book.
We're going to take some blood and some urine samples, and she's got that ADHD.
And what is ADHD? It's a kind of depression, right?
As far as they seem to know. That ADHD is just some kind of mood disorder, I guess. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. But, maybe you could somehow interpret that to be mood.
So they prescribe her Ritalin.
Yeah, she's depressed about her dad, maybe, or something, because Captain Howdy is somehow related to her dad. Here's some Ritalin. And if you want, I'd also hook you up with a bottle of steroids.
she want to get jacked?
You want to get jacked? Yeah.
Chris is like, no, she's strong enough. No. So a little bit later, Chris is having a house party. And at the house party, there's all of these charming, witty people.
Yeah, I love when they talk about movies for a long time. I love when the police officer, who I don't understand why he's even here, is... a
lot of his stuff is cut from the movie.
Yeah, I expected his entire part would have been cut. Because who the fuck cares about this guy? What's he doing?
The third movie, he's the main character.
How?
And
why? That sounds miserable. Let me tell you about the film that I saw just last Thursday.
The third movie, he's the main character, and they changed the actor. He's played by George C. Scott. Which, he's actually really good in the movie, but like it does not feel like the same character at all. It's weird.
Yeah, he's not. They recast him, so.
Well, the third movie is also not even like a sequel. It's a different book Halloween that they insisted 3. On. He wanted to make a movie called Legion, but they're like, how about you do that but you call it The Exorcist 3, and there's also an exorcism in it. And so there's this
Do I get to break a little girl's back?
No, because the guy who wrote the book directed The Exorcist 3. So it's just a lot of old men talking.
Good?
Yes.
What is Legion, then?
So one of the demons Jesus exorcised, a pretty
I
famous...
know this because John Dies at the end has a demon, but he, instead of calling himself Legion, he calls himself Shitloads. I never got through that book for some reason. Anyway,
guys possessed. Jesus asks him, what's your name, demon? Demon says Legion, for we are many. And there's many demons in this one guy.
Okay. Yes. Well, back to hell with you. Pa-pow.
They ask him not to be sent back to the abyss, and they say there's a herd of pigs over there. Could we go into the pigs? And Jesus is like, yeah, I guess, if you want. And then they do. He casts them into the pigs, and then the pigs run off a cliff and die.
What? Why?
Didn't write the Bible, man.
What lesson am I taking away from this? Don't trust the demons; they'll kill your pigs.
I didn't think about the fact that they were probably somebody's pigs.
Yeah, they're probably that guy's pigs. He just got unpossessed, and now all of his fucking pigs are dead.
Well, you're not supposed to eat pork anyway, so...
this is... We're getting into the... We're allowing bacon, so...
Jesus was still a Jew. He wasn't eating bacon.
So the moral of the story is, like, fuck those pigs anyway? Like,
I think the moral of the story is fuck those pigs anyway.
Okay. Interesting.
Wow.
Did they end up going to the abyss after they ran off the cliff anyway?
I always wondered that myself. I always wondered, like, how is that better? And, like, if they didn't go to the abyss, then couldn't they just skip the pig part and go to wherever they were going to go after they died anyway?
Yeah, I'm confused. It sounds like there's a part to this that's maybe missing or something.
Anyway, Reagan.
How we get on Legion? Oh, yeah, because the Exorcist 3 and the fucking detective. Okay. Yeah, Reagan. She's got the ADHD.
She's got the ADHD. So she's
got
having
that
this
hyperactivity
party with a lot of very charming people. One of them's a Jesuit priest. One of them's a psychic. One of them's an astronaut. I think there's a senator. Dennings, the alcoholic British man, is there. He insults
that's
the senator.
Exactly who I want here.
Yep.
Hanging out with the senator.
Well, and this is the other thing. I don't like the way Chris and Dennings interact. I think if I were Chris, I'd probably twist Dennings' head around and throw him out a window. Like, I just can't get over how, like, the demon kind of did the world a favor on that one.
Turns out the demon, not that bad.
Really, I mean, if we could just get the incontinence under control.
We could really put you to good use. How would you like to go serve in Vietnam?
Oh, God. So she's having this party, and a lot of people are talking. They talk about Black Mass. They talk about the fact that there's been some churches vandalized recently. Vandalized in a way that suggests Black Mass.
Stars and Stripes.
One of the things I think is funny about the book is I don't know where to fit this in, but Blatty does this thing where it's like, is there any evidence of Black Masses actually occurring? No. But they probably do.
Yeah.
And
like when Oprah said rainbow parties were a real thing, and then it was like, but no, they're not. But because Oprah said it, well, there's your law of attraction, brother. Because you're thinking about it, now it's happening.
I'm
That's
sure
the power of positivity, dude.
I'm sure there's someone out there like this is what Father Karras says, and I think it's actually pretty decent. Like I'm sure there's someone out there that has done this, but it's because they're crazy, not because there's like actually devil worship going
Or
on.
perhaps they have ADHD.
Perhaps we don't know. But also we know for a fact, like we can't, just because she can read minds and just because she can move objects with her mind and just because she exhibits super strength, it doesn't necessarily mean she's possessed, because now we know that because of the mutant X gene, some children just manifest powers at puberty.
Yeah.
He says that, like, we know for a fact ESP, telekinesis, and all this shit's real. So we can't use that as evidence of the supernatural anymore. And I'm just like...
That's all real, Ben.
Like, I thought we were going backwards with Google AI, but I guess we're still beating the card catalog, because I don't know where you got this shit. But yeah, so they're talking about Black Mass as if it's a real thing that actually happens. So somebody's been breaking into all these churches with their tiny hands, leaving tiny fingerprints, like a 12-year-old girl almost, and they've been defacing the Virgin Mary and just shitting everywhere. And it's been terrible. And Chris is like, tell me more about Black Mass. Tell me more about this. And then I think Reagan does come down the stairs, and she looks directly at the astronaut who's supposed to go to the moon next week. It was the 70s. It was a different time. We used to, people used to go to the moon.
Yeah, now we're going to Mars.
Telekinesis used to be real. People were going to the moon all the time. It was just a weird, it was the 70s, man. So she looks at that astronaut and she's like, you're going to die up there. I don't think he does, though. I don't think anybody's ever died on the moon. So she's kind of lying about that. And
yeah.
Then she pees on the floor.
Sounds like the demon doesn't know. Yeah, then she pees on the floor.
And then after that embarrassing display, the party does continue for some time. I don't think that actually kills it. I think the maid...
If anything, that just got the party going more. I mean...
Can we talk about, like does she hold these... this immigrant couple's visa or what? Like...
Yeah?
The whole time I was just thinking, like, wow, how do you not put in your 2 weeks? And by 2 weeks, I mean, I'm gone. I'm leaving. I am not... This is the last time a demon shits on me this week. I'm sorry. Literally. This is the last time. But yeah, they clean it up, and she continues her party. The psychic happened to touch Reagan's hand, though. And she gets a really weird look on her face. And as the party's winding down...
So psychics are real, is what you're telling me. They have to be, because the Ouija board summoned a demon, so psychics are real. Let's do it.
So, yeah, they are. According to... So, if you're talking actual religious belief, yeah, that is not entirely incompatible. And that's going to go along with a lot of the spiritualist stuff that happened in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Along, like, with the Ouija board comes out of the seance. But these psychic powers, at various times, saints have exhibited them. They've also been signs of witchcraft. They've also been signs of possession themselves.
So saints have done them. Why do we burn witches?
Saints are often burned, actually.
Well,
yeah, usually you don't get to be
checkmate.
You're not usually declared a saint until after you've died, and being martyred is a good way to get sainted. Like, I'm not sure if Joan of Arc is a saint, but I was Protestant. We didn't do saints.
Nah, she was a woman. So
no, there are women saints. There are a lot of women saints.
Oh, even before Vatican II?
Even before Vatican, Virgin Mary's a woman saint.
Well, that's an exception.
No, there were plenty of women saints in the Middle Ages. It's actually don't worry, there's a little bit of misogyny in that too, because like that woman did math. Surely God must be at work here. They do a bit of that. Arthur Conan Doyle, in his History of Spiritualism, actually says that the reason he doesn't. Okay, he doesn't. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. When talking about why so many mediums seem to be uneducated people from the backwoods who definitely aren't scamming you.
Grifters. Good way to make money when you don't have any other skills.
The reason why so many men were so ready to believe that so many women had these powers is because, as Doyle puts it, and these are his exact words, the blank slate takes the best message.
Wow. Arthur Conan Doyle, a real smart guy who was full of smartness and intellect. And not some sort of dumb fucking idiot.
I question his sanity at the time of writing it. I'm serious. Like, it reads like he's not well. But anyway, speaking of people not being well, do you want to go through some of they give Reagan the whole battery of tests? I don't want this girl to see a psychiatrist. And this is the doctor speaking. I don't want this girl to see a psychiatrist until we have exhausted every invasive procedure I can think of. Because God help you if you get this kid into therapy and it's something medical. The damage done to the body by starting therapy right now could be irreversible.
Well, first we need to get an x-ray of your brain.
He does x-ray her brain. I thought that was fun.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. I don't know if maybe he knows how
tissues work.
Yeah. yeah.
Well, I mean, you're going to see like it's in there. She has one.
Yeah. You're. I mean, you'll see, like, the skull. You'll see that. We usually don't do a whole lot of x-rays on your head unless we are looking at your skull.
Well, let's make sure
X-rays are really good at looking at those harder tissues, like bones.
Well, let's make sure she didn't get the stupid knocked into her.
Yeah, let's make sure. Yeah, okay, that's fair. And there might be it might be a seizure, a clonic seizure.
Now, Chris asks many times, what the hell is a clonic seizure? And he will not tell her. And I also don't know.
It's like a thing where, like, your brain does a thing and there might be a scar or something on the brain. And, it could be ADHD or it could be, a brain scar. We just got to remove that scar tissue. No big deal.
Is that a thing?
Removing scar tissue from a brain?
Yeah.
No.
Pretend I know nothing about brain surgery.
I've never heard of removing scar tissue, and in the 70s, I don't think they had laparoscopic anything for a long time.
I'm sitting here as a man who knows nothing about brain surgery, wondering how one removes a scar without creating a scar.
Let's see. When did laparoscopy? That's what I want.
Well, surely we could just cut a window into her skull.
Well, I mean, you just do it around the eyes, I think. Easy to get in. Yeah, you can remove I guess you can remove. So my question is, how do you know where the scar is?
The X-ray.
Okay, all right. Yep, I guess that's, you know what? You sold me. Yeah, you can remove a scar from brain tissue. I just don't think, like, in the 70s, that's going to be happening,
So, what about the spinal fluid sample? They tested for like meningitis or...
Yeah. we need to make sure that she doesn't have the meningitis. It looks like laparoscopic surgeries became a lot more common in the 90s. So, but yeah, we need to make sure that she's not having meningitis, because what if she has a seizure and also meningitis, Ben? That would explain all the symptoms.
I feel like if she had meningitis, she'd be dead.
Yeah, probably in the 70s. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, just she's had it for like a month now.
That's true. She probably would have died already.
Yeah.
But she'd also probably have a fever. And
True.
she doesn't. She also wouldn't be able to, like, probably move her neck at all. Like, it'd be stiff. Like, you when it's bad, you literally cannot move your neck. So that's fun. Yeah, and then he said it was a seizure, but it's like a what did he say? Was it a tonic seizure? Not a tonic-clonic. You know, that's your grand mal seizure. It's a focal seizure, Ben, where she just has like the jerking spasms, but like everything else is okay. She can still be awake through that. And maybe that's the result of scar tissue on her brain. The X-ray, I don't know. It's just showing a skull there, so it's real hard for me to visualize.
Well, what can we give her in the meantime, Doctor?
I recommend. Oh, hey, look at that! First CT scan was performed in 1971, so they just missed it. And it was at Johns Hopkins, I think. So, or no, in the UK. My bad. So they missed it. All right. So what we can do in the meantime? So I'm gonna give her just a shitload of Librium, just a fuck ton of Librium, 25 milligrams of Librium, which is an adult dose, and normally we give it orally, Ben, but then there's a problem with that, in that like that goes through your liver, and like your liver metabolizes it. I want this straight into her veins.
So I have never heard of Librium in my life. I understand it's a tranquilizer of some sort.
It's a benzo, like Xanax.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Or Ativan,
okay.
But it lasts super fucking long. Usually, I have only seen it used for people who need to get off of benzos and they need something long acting, or they have acute alcohol withdrawal. They're in the emergency room. We're giving you Librium for all of the withdrawal symptoms. Like you are starting to have seizures, for example.
Yikes.
I don't normally see Librium like outside of the ER. And I don't normally see it.
You don't normally write a one a day prescription for a 12-year-old.
Yeah. In her house for a shitload of Librium. I think I wrote a quote, "That was quite a strong dose." And I was like, no shit.
Yeah, so they give her the 25 milligrams and it doesn't do anything to her. Give her another 25? What do you say?
Give her another 25 and then let's analyze what I think they did a blood count, and he said too many reds means bleeding.
Bleeding, yeah.
And I was like,
yeah, when you bleed, you produce more blood.
Yeah, exactly. Even you caught that. Like, no. Too few reds means you've bled. Too many reds is a different thing.
Yeah.
He's running a test for a fungal infection.
I don't know anything about biology, but I do know something about what number is bigger than the other.
And, okay, you know what? Let's just start injecting her with Thorazine. I'm pretty sure that'll be fine. You just mix the Librium and the Thorazine and just shoot it in there.
What is Thorazine? I also don't know. It sounds intimidating.
It's an old school antipsychotic.
Oh my god. Okay, so
yeah,
how does it work?
Basically you take it and you pass the fuck out because it's pretty strong shit. It's pretty strong. You don't use that much outside of the hospital because there's a lot better antipsychotics that don't cause, weight gain and put you the fuck to sleep, and also the horrible movement disorders and the lactating from your nipples and all the stuff that came with the old school antipsychotics that like nobody really liked.
Thank Almighty Christ, Blatty did not know about the lactation side effects.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Thank God for small miracles, am I right?
Yeah, so I kept getting texts from you about not about how scared you were of the horror novel, but about how you kept
100 milligrams of Thorazine, Ben. I wrote it in all
Yeah.
caps.
Yeah. Yeah, these were the texts I was getting. So Reagan is being heavily medicated, and all it's really doing is keeping her calm enough to let them get the straps on her sometimes. She's still acting up. And how could a 12-year-old possibly
I love the
process
scene
all this?
where he's talking about like, all right, now we just need to give her. Oh, and she starts squeezing his nuts.
All right. So Reagan is being medicated. It's not working. The doctor is running out of ideas. He's going to have to resort to the ultimate emergency, high risk experimental treatment of psychiatric therapy.
Which is funny because he already gave some of the highest doses of psychiatric medication around at the time.
He's ultimately going to give up and say Reagan's ramblings start to get more and more religious in nature, and he's wondering, could she think she's possessed by a demon? Are you guys religious? Have you told her about anything like this? And they're trying to figure that out. But somebody suggests hospitalizing Reagan, which Chris will not do under any circumstances. She will not put her in an institution.
Yeah.
She has 2 Swiss servants who cannot escape, who she can have provide around the clock care. There's absolutely no need for an institution.
She doesn't trust nurses anyway.
She doesn't trust nurses. That's right. She had a son that died of an infection or something, and she doesn't trust doctors anymore. So
meanwhile, this guy's over here is just like, shoot her up.
Yeah.
Shoot her up.
So Reagan's getting worse. Now somebody says, okay, well, if you don't want to institutionalize her, there's only one more thing I can think of. Literally only one. Have you tried an exorcism?
Get the power of Jesus in here.
And with that, we're going to take a break. It's going to be part 1 of The Exorcist. And in keeping with the book and trying to convey the experience of the book, I am so happy that we did not get into any demon stuff. It was all just discussions and ramblings and asides into church policy, because that's this book. Nothing really serious happens until, I want to say, 3/4 of the way through. It's
the
kind of
very end.
It's kind of the same in the movie, but the actors bring a lot to the movie. But yeah, so that's gonna be part 1. We'll come back with part 2, where maybe it'll get scary. It's definitely there's a diarrhea content warning for the next episode. Gonna be a lot of that, more than you would think, more than is necessary. Also, all the really graphic sex stuff that happens in The Exorcist is going to come next episode, so be prepared for that, I guess. And yeah, with that, just going to thank the patrons. That's all I can do. And thank Spooky Shy with a Y over on TikTok, Jamie, the Gravy Man of the If You Want the Gravy blog, Isekai Sensei Sama of the That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster podcast. And John Bierce, actual author of The Mage Errant, The Rack, and More Gods Than Stars.
Jacob Lansky. Doing whatever the fuck he wants, Ben.
Indeed he is, I assume. I assume it's listening to this.
Can you imagine if it wasn't?
Well, everybody, ready your Librium, and have a good night.
But wouldn't that drive you out of Reagan?
It would bring us together.
You and Reagan?
You and us.